Well, welcome to another edition of Take Five. We have I think, a pretty interesting passage today. We ended in verse 11 of chapter 10 yesterday, but I'm going to actually go to verse 16. We've got this encounter between Moses and his brother that I find somewhat fascinating. So, where Leviticus 10, verse 16, when Moses inquired about the goat of the sin offering and found that it had been burned up, he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons, and asked, "Why didn't you eat the sin offering in the sanctuary area? It is most holy. It was given to you to take away the guilt of the community by making atonement for them before the Lord. Since his blood was not taken into the holy place, you should have eaten the goat in the sanctuary area as I commanded." All right. So I'm going to try to explain it best I understand it, and I certainly could be wrong here. All right. I think Moses is saying, look, Aaron, you didn't finish worshiping God. You're supposed to eat this goat and then burn it up. You weren't you're supposed to just burn it up, and you should have eaten it and then done something with his blood there. But look how Aaron replies here, verse 19. Aaron replied to Moses, "Today they sacrificed their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord. But such things as this," okay, and when he says such things as this, I think he's talking about the death of his sons. "Such things as this have happened to me. Would the Lord have been pleased if I had eaten the sin offering today?" All right, here's what Aaron's saying. He's saying, look, Moses, I lost my sons today, and I'm grieving. This is a really hard day for me. And I didn't want to continue in this ceremony because I don't believe my heart was in it. Do you think God would have wanted me to continue in this worship if my heart wasn't in it after what happened with my sons today? I believe that's what Aaron is saying. In verse 20, when Moses heard this, he was satisfied. Moses was kind of upset, but then he had to step back and realize where his brother was coming from. This was his brother, and his brother was grieving, and his brother just didn't feel like eating the goat. His brother wanted to mourn for his sons. He says, look, everybody else, they sacrificed their sin offering. They did what they were supposed to do. Okay, but I'm personally hurting. Okay. Aaron said, look, I know I'm the high priest, but you know what? I'm a man too. I'm a man who's lost my kids. And it says, when Moses heard this, he was satisfied. And his leaders, if you're ever leading in the church, it's important you do represent God, but there are times when you realize God has a tender heart and God is patient, and you also have to be patient, and you have to be willing to listen to people and hear where they're coming from. And I will tell you, the older I get, the better I get at this. But I think even in our relationship, I do this a lot better than I used to, and I'm trying to change this all the time. But it's hard sometimes, because we just get focused on one thing. But we have to realize people are complex and they have different things going on in their lives. And I think you're really good at this, by the way. I think you're what Moses needed to be here. I think you're really good at. I think you're really good at understanding where somebody's coming from and being sympathetic. You've helped me with that in regards to your sister. But I know even you don't understand everything. But this is what Moses did. And you said you wanted to study about Moses and learn. Well, here's a good example of where Moses learned a little bit from his brother. And he's a good man. Moses is a very good man, very humble man, and so he didn't keep on with you should have done this with the goat. Okay, he said, okay, I get it. I know, it's fine, it's cool. All right. Hey, I thought you'd appreciate that about Moses. Moses is a great guy. I'm glad you want to study him, and I'm learning myself quite a bit from these lessons we're doing together. Hey, we'll be in, I guess, chapter 11 tomorrow on the next edition of Take 5.